Hello students, welcome in today's surgery lecture. In today's lecture, we are going to see the keloid. Keloid. The keloid means the definition is the keloid is overgrowth of the scar. Overgrowth of the scar means what? Whenever any injury occurs, any kind of the injury occurs, and healing of the injury takes place, and this is formation of the scar is there. Instead of forming the normal scar after the healing of the injury, there is a overgrowth of the scar. The keloid term, it is originated from the Greek word kele. Kele means the tumor. It is originated from the Greek word. The kele. It means tumor. But actually the keloid is not tumor. Usually the tumor we call as a neoplasia, or neoplasia is called as a tumor. But keloid is not a tumor, even though it originated from the kele. It differs from the tumor, where in the tumor there is a excessive growth of the tissue, which is uncontrolled and it takes place for a long time, for the longer period. But the keloid, it is an overgrowth of the scar, but it doesn't grow for the long time. It grows for the some short time, for the years. And it is not excessive, it is limited. After the few years or the few days, it is limited. Beyond that, the growth doesn't occur, growth stops. Thus it differs from the tumor. Do you understood? And in tumor, there is a excessive, uncontrolled growth. For the years together, there is no limitation for the growth. It can grow unlimitedly. Tumor, but not a keloid. Keloid is also different from other growth of the scar, like hypertrophic scar. Hypertrophic scar. How it differ from the hypertrophic scar? It differs from the hypertrophic scar. Hypertrophic scar, it will grow only for the 6 months. After the 6 months, the hypertrophic scar stop to grow. There is one difference. Second difference, the hypertrophic scar, it is a less vascular, and second thing, it doesn't raise above the surface of the body. Hypertrophic scar. So thus, the keloid differ from the hypertrophic scar also there, and also from the tumor. Now coming to here, the predisposing factors for the keloid. When the keloid is formed, of course, keloid is formed after the injury, where the scar forms and due to overgrowth of the scar tissue. But some of the factors favorable, or they called predisposing factors, which causing the keloid, and these predisposing factors are divided into two groups. One is systemic factors or local factors. So thus the keloid may be have the predisposing factors may be the systemic or local. The systemic factors are color. The keloid is common in the colored peoples. So that's why it's seen more common in the black peoples, common in Negroes than that of the white peoples. So it is common in the black peoples than the white skinned peoples. Rarely occurs in the white skinned peoples. Second, individual factors. Individual factors means what? The sum of the individual person, they have tendency to develop the keloid. That's how the diathesis, keloid diathesis. And these people get the multiple keloids on their body. Even after the small injury, they develop the keloid. Third one, systemic factor is sex. It is common in the woman. More common in the woman than that of the men. It may be due to repeated pregnancy, multiple pregnancy. Due to that, there is a change or increased secretion of the steroid hormones are there, that will causes the increased tendency to develop the keloid. It found in male also there, but frequently found in the females as compared to the male. Then tuberculosis. The person having the history of tuberculosis or suffering from the tuberculosis, they tend to likely get the keloid more commonly than the other people who is not having the tuberculosis. So these are the systemic factors: color, individual factors, and the sex. And the last one is the tuberculosis. Then the local factors. Local factors also predisposes the formation of the keloid. Most important local factor is the site. Site means what? At which site injury occurs and scar forms. That site favorable for the development of the scar. These are mainly sternum, in front of the sternum, ear lobule, deltoid, neck, head. These are the common site for the formation of the keloid. Remember, keloid can occur at any site. If patient has the diathesis or the factors are favorable for that, but most commonly seen in these sites are where? On the sternum, in front of the sternum, at ear lobules, on deltoids. That is common after the vaccine. At the deltoid, it's called the vaccination scar, and it turns into the keloid there. On the neck, head, these are the common sites for the formation of the keloid there. Then infection. The infected wound, after the injury, the scar forms, and scar gets infected, it's likely to turn into the keloid. Proliferation of the tissue occurs there. Then nature of incision. Nature of incision means after surgery or during the surgery, what kind of the incision carried out, or for any minor surgery also, whatever the incision is taken there. If incision taken along with the creases, then along with the Langer's line, the keloid rarely occurs. But if incision taken across the creases, that across the Langer's line, such injury, where injury occurs due to incision taken across the Langer's line, it will be tend to become a keloid. Its scar tends to become the keloid there. Then tuberculous scar. If there is a tuberculous ulcer is there, and the healing of this ulcer case occurs, and this tuberculous scar case forms, that tends to become a keloid. So these are the predisposing factors which favors the development of the or occurrence of the keloid there. You understood? Predisposing factors. Then the pathology. What is the pathology behind it? Why does the keloid occurs? Predisposing factors and causes apart from this one that. Why it occurs that? What happens normally? When injury occurs, the injury heals by forming the scar, and the scar turns into a normal scar. But in cases of the keloid, there is no formation of the normal or matured scar. That's why the primitive cells, they grow continuously instead of maturing. It has been demonstrated by histological examination of the keloid where it is found fibroblasts, which are not turned into the fibrocytes. If they turn into fibrocyte, then they will formation of the normal matured scar. Normal matured scar. So there is a failure of the formation of the mature scar, or the failure of the conversion of the fibroblast into the mature fibrocytes. Second thing, it shows the more vascularity. As compared to the other scar, other growth, the keloid is the more vascularity, and more vascularity found in the growing tissue, neovascularization. Do you understand? So that is the pathology. The maybe failure of the formation of the mature fibrocytes. That is the pathology. Then coming to the clinical features of the keloid. Clinical features of the keloid. The first of all, the history of the injury. Any kind of the injury. Mostly we have been seeing the pricking of the ear lobules, nose, isn't it? Or the tuberculous scar, burns. It occurs most commonly after the burns also there. If a history of such type of injury, there is a chances of the keloid, whatever growth we found there. Second, personal history. As already you have been saying, if you ask to the patient, I have personal history who have the diathesis, keloid diathesis, it develops the multiple keloid. It develops the multiple keloid. That's the personal history that having the diathesis for the keloid. Site, as already we have mentioned, sites, if the scar tissue found are overgrown, that at the sites on the sternum, ear lobes, neck, deltoid or deltoid, after the vaccination, then it may be suspected as a keloid. Then these last four are the specific clinical features of the keloid at any site. The first one, clinical feature, is raised above the surface. It is a characteristic of the overgrowth of the scar in the keloid, which is raised above the surface. Above the surface. Usually other scars doesn't raise above the surface there, even the overgrowth there. Isn't it? The first one. Second, color. The color, at first, it is shiny pink, may turn into the red. It is due to more vascularity. Later on, it becomes hyperpigmented. Hyperpigmented. Then margins. The margins of the keloid are the like crab's claw. Where legs of the crabs, it will be goes in the near the tissue, surrounding tissue. It will like this one. It grows like this one. Thus, this will be the margin, and then this border will be goes like this one, like a claw of crab or crab's claw. Then ulceration. Ulceration. The ulceration usually on the surface there is a ulceration there on the keloid. Usually keloid is ulcerate. And the last one is eighth one is itching. Itching. This is very persistent and the intense itching on the keloid. That is again the characteristic of the keloid. Always patient want to scratch, and this increased by the scratching or the swelling. So itching is another one characteristic clinical feature of the keloid. So we understood all these are the clinical features of the keloid. So this from 4 to 8. These 5 are the particular clinical features of the keloid. You can say specific clinical feature of the keloid. Raised above the surface, swelling raised above the surface, color, then the margins, ulcer formation. Not always ulcer formation, but most of the cases later there is found a formation of the ulcer, but itching is found. So these one, 4th, 5th, 6th and the 8th, these are the persistent clinical features of the keloid by which you can diagnose the keloid clinically. So we understood? Then we will go for the treatment of the keloid. Treatment of the keloid, regarding the treatment of the keloid, as per the modern system of the medicine, there are a number of treatments have been advocated or suggested, but no one treatment is specific for the treatment of the keloid or not curative for the keloid. Many of the people may be advise the surgery, excision of the keloid, but excision of the keloid is not a solution or not a curative treatment for the keloid, because after the excision it gets a recur. Chances of the recurrence is more. So that's what is the treatment. The treatment, it will be medicinal treatment and surgical treatment. In medicinal treatment, there is use of the hydrocortisone. Hydrocortisone is steroid. It can be used. The first only hydrocortisone application, external application can be used on the keloid. It will be stop the growth of the keloid. Even it doesn't cure. Hydrocortisone also doesn't cure it, but it arrests the growth of the keloid. So external application. If it is not cured by the external application, then intrakeloid injections of the hydrocortisone. Intrakeloid. First is what? The external application of the hydrocortisone. Hydrocortisone. If it is not sufficient, then intrakeloid injections of hydrocortisone. Intrakeloid injection of hydrocortisone. So that is medicinal treatment. Choice of medicinal treatment. Second, the surgical treatment. This is medicinal. Surgical treatment, doesn't do a satisfactory result, but still some persons allocate that intrakeloid injection, excision. Intrakeloid excision means what? The only center part of the keloid is excised and the margins or borders kept as it is, which will prevent the fast recurrence. But it is not a good choice of the treatment. Second, after the surgical treatment, intrakeloid excision, so radiotherapy or injections of the hydrocortisone or use of the hydrocortisone as in the form injection or the external application is allocated. But the surgical treatment is not a good treatment for the keloid. Remember this one. So that is about the treatment of keloid. Apart from this, the best treatment for the keloid is a homeopathic treatment. We have the very good homeopathic medicines that which cures the keloid. And that are, the one is Graphitis, second Cilicia, third Thuja, and the fourth one is Calcarea Flor. These are the predominant ones. Other than these four medicines, there are a number of medicines for the keloid are the new homeopathy. But these are the predominant medicines for the keloid. Thuja specially used keloid after the vaccination. After the vaccination. Cilicia also after the vaccination, but Cilicia is used in general, and Graphitis is most common use in keloid due to the personal or individual factors are that is in a persons who have the diathesis of the keloid or keloid diathesis. So in homeopathy you can use the four medicines, or other way you can say the homeopathic treatment for the keloid is that we can use the among these four medicines that are the Graphitis, Cilicia, Thuja and Calcarea Flor. And if you have any specific history or protracted symptoms, you can use other medicine other than that of these four. But these four are the predominant. So this is about the keloid. That's all.